Hey everybody, Karen from Ask the Spirit Guides. How's it going today? So today I want to do a follow-up on your questions regarding spirit guides. So I had done a video originally on just asking my spirit guides about spirit guides. And you had a bunch of questions in that video. So I'm going to link that video in the description. The original one, if you want to watch that first or watch it after this, it's fine. You'll hear different things. And I'll also put it right here or there, wherever it ends up after this video is over. Okay? So if you're new here, welcome. Again, my name is Karen, and I work with my spirit guides through dowsing rods. On the channel, I have a playlist called About the Channel. And that has a bunch of videos about me, a little bit about me, but on using the dowsing rods. I'll also link that playlist, over here when this is done. Okay. The About the Channel. So I have a little prayer that I say, and then I'll show you how it's going to work. And I have in front of me a whole bunch of questions that you guys asked in that video. So people who had watched that originally. Okay. So I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides and guardians, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect this channel so it's only of the light. Amen. If you hear a little wind today, it's a little windy. So I think we're getting a windstorm. You might hear some trees banging up against the building too. So they got to fix that. Okay, so basically, hi you guys. I'm saying hello to my SGs, my spirit guides. That's their hello to me. This is also their yes. Okay, so when they answer yes, it's to my right, it's on your left. I will also tell you the answer, so you don't have to memorize that. And when they go this way, that's no. Okay, some folks who use dowsing rods, it works differently for them. This is just the way that my guides move these. I've actually asked them to do it just like, well, let's just see if they'll do it. Because I know, can you guys do a yes the way other people use dowsing rods and do a yes? Let me just see what they do. I'm just curious. Okay, so show me a yes. So I thought a yes. So other people's yeses will hit their shoulders. Like I think it goes back this way and then nose cross, or it could be the other way around. Can you guys show me, I'm just curious. I don't know why I'm doing this, but can you just show me a yes by hitting my shoulders? See, the reason we didn't do that, okay, well, let's go ahead and do it. The reason we don't do that is because it takes too long. For some reason, my energy, like if I ask them to give me a hug, see, it's going to take a long time. They'll do it. Can you give me a hug? It's basically the same answer. But this can take quite a while. Here, well, we'll just wait and see if you're patient enough. This is why I don't do the yes and no this way, because it takes them, I've seen some people use these and then the yes just bounces back. It's like, oh my gosh. But it probably is my energy is maybe a little bit more dense and it takes them a while to kind of get it back. But this is basically what they'll do if I ask them for a hug. I'm not even sure I want to make you wait any longer, but they basically just keep going back until now this would be a hug for you also, directed out that way. But if they were coming towards me, they would just basically, it's just going to take too long. They would bounce this way. And a no would be a cross like that. So anyways, so it's just the way that my guides work with my energy, I guess. So yours might work a little differently if you're using dowsing rods or working with them. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see how many questions we have. I guess they're really not numbered, but I would say there's probably 30 questions. So let's buzz through those. All right. So, and whether you ask these or not, I think they're going to be really useful for folks. So are you guys ready? Okay. So we are asking questions here today about spirit guides in general. I haven't even read through the list, you guys. I read the first question, so. Okay. So everybody, folks want to know, here are the questions. Are spirit guides relatives that have passed on? The answer is no, but it's a kind of a slight no. So are they maybe passed on? Could we have relatives from previous lifetimes that would be our spirit guides in this lifetime? Okay, they're not really answering that. So our spirit guides, any form of, have we ever been relatives with our spirit guides at some point in our evolution? Oh, okay, so that's a wide yes. Look at that. Okay, so at some point in our evolution, we have been relatives on Earth with our spirit guides. Okay, so wide swing. Is it because we tend to evolve together throughout evolution, throughout every time we come back to Earth or wherever we go? So the answer is yes. Okay. And again, if you have more questions now, I'd be happy to do a follow-up video. So it'd be kind of fun to have a little series on this about spirit guides. Okay, can specialty guides come in to help the original two when we are going through a particularly hard situation and problem? So the answer is yes. Okay, and that they just, yeah. I kind of moved in there. Okay, wide swing, yes. Okay, so for folks who might have missed the first video, the original two, what we've been told in that video, again, you might want to watch that one as well, is that we're each assigned two spirit guides at birth or before birth that we plan our life out with. And they're here with us the whole time, 100% of the time. And I'm not even sure assigned is the right word. It's like we pick, I think I might have asked that, like, do we pick, and I can't quite remember. Yeah, do we personally, like our higher selves, pick our spirit guides? And then they have to, so the answer is yes, and they have to agree. Yeah, so it's, they have to agree to do that because it's quite a commitment. I think it would be quite a commitment. So the specialty guides would be like archangels, ascended masters, Jesus. Is that correct? So we can call upon absolutely. Okay. So it isn't a bad idea in fact, I've been looking for an ascended masters book. I haven't found one that I really like yet. If you guys know of one, let me know in the comments. That'd be great. Ascended Masters, I would like a book on, I don't have a book on all the different archangels either. So if you have any ideas for those, that would be awesome. Okay, so yeah, let's call upon when we need, and that's why I'm saying it, like if you had a book on different Ascended Masters or different archangels and you knew what their specialties were, then my understanding is Archangel Raphael particularly helps people with health issues. So if you're having health issues that you would like some resolution around or some clarity around or whatever, healing, then Archangel Raphael would be one to ask for. Archangel Michael is the protector. And so that's why I always ask for Archangel Michael's protection of white light to make sure that we're only talking to the light here when we're, working with spirit. So, okay, can spirit guides influence our decision if I ask for guidance? Okay, so the answer is no. So let me see if I can get some clarity on that. So if we ask for guidance, are you saying that, so we ask for guidance, and do spirit guides basically plant ideas then or help us with ideas? Okay, the answer is yes. So they can give us the ideas, but it's still our free will to choose whether to implement those ideas. Okay, or ideas, or give us put an experience in front of us or a person in front of us that would help. Okay, so it's really paying attention. The answer is yes and yes. It's really paying attention, and that's where the synchronicity comes in, I think. It's like you're asking for things, and the universe is, you got to give it a little time for the universe to work out those things you're asking for. And so trusting in that and then keeping your eyes open and being open. Sometimes you got to get out of the house, so that they can make some of that stuff work, is my guess. Would that be correct? Okay. Or, not necessarily out of the house, but you might, be strolling in your scrolling in your feed on YouTube or something, and you come across somebody you haven't seen before. And happens to me. Their video, because if you've been here, my mom's number for us, and our angel number is 333, since she passed. And so I often will see a video that will be like down here, it'll be like 333. And I'm like, okay, I better watch that and see what it is. Sometimes I can't figure out, like it's nothing, but it's just paying attention to stuff like that. Okay, so obviously we still have the free will. They can't really influence our decisions. Is that correct? Okay, so that's correct. Can we ask our guardian angels to talk to someone else's guardian angels to help them? The answer is yes. So again, they have free will, so it would probably work the same way. Is that correct? But you can absolutely ask them, and I guess that would be like prayer. So would it be interfering? I'm always a little careful. I'm always like, I don't want to interfere in their soul contract or anything, but that's where we have free will. So if we ask for help for other people, are we interfering in their soul contract? The answer is no. Okay, so because they ultimately have the free will, is that why? Okay, so the answer is yes. Okay, so would even asking our guardian angels to talk to someone else's guardian angels to help them, will that make any difference at all? The answer is yes. Wide swing, yes. Okay, good. So prayer, the power of prayer and being specific. Is it helpful for us to be as specific as possible when we're asking for help? The answer is yes. Okay. Can we ask you, our spirit guides, to influence our decisions? No. So we can't. So the answer is we could probably ask, but we can ask, right? But so if we said, please influence my decision the best, or help me make the best decision possible, is that influencing? Is that asking for influence? No. Okay. So kind of interesting. I'm just going to kind of circle around as we answer more questions. All right. Let's see. Can we ask our spirit guides to help us protect our minds and hearts against accidentally observing nonsense around us? Oh, that's a great question. Yes, you certainly can. So let's ask this. If we ask you, our spirit guides, to protect our minds and hearts against accidentally seeing nonsense around us or stuff that would not be helpful for us, will you actually take action on that? Well, the answer is yes. Okay. Cool. I love that question. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm going to write that one down. Okay. Do our spirit guides, oh, this is cute. Do our spirit guides ever use GPT to communicate to us? No. That's cute. I love that. Do spirit guides move the bed? Oh, yes. So spirit guides, you have the ability to move things on earth? Yes. Okay. So I swear they woke me up. I don't know if I've ever told this story, but it was like just a couple months ago. I was talking about it with family recently, but I think if I lay on my back, I get I probably have sleep apnea, but as long as I sleep on my side, I'm fine. So I don't think I could sleep with one of those things. So, but if I sleep on my back, I'll, like I stop breathing and I'll sit up. Okay. But I was on my side when this happened, and it was just a couple months ago. And so in my, something yelled, no, really loud to me, and it woke me up. And when I woke up, I realized I wasn't breathing. And I know, well, let's just ask them. I'm pretty sure I did, but was that you who yelled no to me, my spirit guides? Okay, why? Yes, because I wasn't breathing. And so, ever since then, actually, I thought, you know what? They're going to protect us when it's our time to go. It's our time to go, So to sit in fear of like age and what time, when it's our time to go and what's going to happen to us, obviously, like that example, they were like, this isn't your time to go. So we're going to wake you up right now because you're not breathing, or this isn't your time to experience brain damage or whatever from not breathing. You know what I mean? And so I think it's amazing to be able to trust that, and not as a human being, and not have to live in that fear of the ego, of, just trusting that we have a soul contract, and we're being protected to honor that soul contract. So I don't know. I just find it fascinating. Very helpful for me. Okay. So let's see. Do we keep the same spirit guides or guardian angels for all of our earthly incarnations, or do they change each time? So do we keep you for all of our earthly incarnations? Okay, the answer is no. So depending on when so if I were to come back in another lifetime after Karen, this body is gone and I've passed over, if I come back into another, is there a chance I'd have the same spirit guides? Oh, so the answer is no. Maybe does it have to do with what we want to gain from that lifetime? Oh, okay, so yes. Okay. I'm learning so much from this. This is great. That makes sense. So again, we'll start the process over again probably, and seek out guides that would help us with whatever we're going to be working on in that next lifetime. The answer is yes. Okay. Let's see. Do we need to ask our spirit guides questions out loud, or do they hear our thoughts? Do we need to ask out loud? No, but it's kind of a slight no. So let me think. Is it better for us to ask our questions out loud? Interesting. Okay, so the answer is yes. The only reason my intuition is picking up on that is because let me just ask, does it depend? Yes, because I have this feeling, and this is just because of the Myers-Briggs and introvert and extrovert. Is it easier for introverts to maybe ask SG their question in their head? No. Okay. So it has nothing to do with personality type? No, it does not. Okay. So just in general, it is better for us to ask out loud. Is it because the voice has energy? So yes and yes. Okay. So that makes sense to me, is that we'd be vibrating energy. And I know when I try to ask things in my head, it just doesn't quite, sometimes I get distracted immediately, and that could be like, who knows why that's happening. But like I could be thinking of something in my head and I start thinking about something else, and then, but does it ultimately have to do with energy? How the voice carries energy? Okay, so that's why it's better. Now we can ask for it in our head and it would still be heard. Is that true? Yes, but it would be more powerful if we asked out loud. Okay, the answer is yes. Great questions. All right, how do you ever discover that you were sensitive? How did you ever discover? Okay, so that's not quite a question for the SGs, but that's okay. So how did you ever discover that you were sensitive? And by sensitive, I think maybe you mean like an empath or a light worker or something like that. I think I've just been personally drawn to it, spirituality and the concept and the ideas of spirituality, ever since my mom gave us books at Christmas on angels, and I was like, whoa, what's this, you know? So I've always been really drawn to it. And I think I've been a sensitive person my whole life. But I always thought that was more ego based, you know, like I take things personally, like really personally, and something I've had to really work on. But in terms of this, like getting to know this, like I just happened to buy these because I was quite interested, and they just kind of worked for me outside of out of the box. And so I didn't, but I've had to learn. Like I've talked to people, mediums and psychics, and other people about this just to make sure I was using them correctly. So, but in terms of how did I discover that I was sensitive, I think it just evolved over time. You know, it's just kind of one of those things that you discover about yourself over time. But yeah, maybe we can have a whole nother discussion about that. That's a really good question. All right, how do I find out who my spirit guides are? So, okay, so somebody did ask this recently, and I just posted a response about this because I'm like, they asked if I knew who my spirit guides were, and I was like, you know, I really don't. And then I went, is that kind of rude? Like I've never really been that interested in like who they are. Is that rude that I haven't found out about you? Okay. So the point is that like, is it important to you guys? I'm talking to my spirit guys. Is it important to you that I would learn about you? The answer was no and no. Okay. So some people might be curious and some people might not be curious. The answer is yes. And either way is fine. Okay. So how do you find out who your spirit guides are? The only way, and if people are listening to this, if you have ideas, please write them in the comments, because that's the community comments are actually the most helpful. So because you're going to get a lot of different ideas. But the one way that I remember doing this, and I think one of my names I'm going to ask right now, are one of my spirit guides, is one of your names Catherine? Okay, so the answer is yes. And I didn't realize, I thought I only had one for a while until I recently did that one video, actually, that first video. So I haven't discovered the second name. So what I learned that through automatic writing. And so you need to learn about automatic writing. It's not really that hard. You literally just sit with a pen and paper in front of you and wait. And like, don't think about stuff, just wait, and whatever pops into your head, you write down. And you could ask, like, what are the names of my guides? And pay attention. Try not to be thinking about names, and pay attention to the names that come into your head. And then you could verify it. Okay. So if two names pop into your head, that's how I got Catherine, basically. I remember hearing that and writing that down. So that's really one way to do that if you really want to know the names of your guides. So how do we begin to contact our spirit guides? Okay, I'm going to answer that in a different video, okay? Let's see, how do we know our spirit guides' names? Okay, we just talked about that. I also purchased rods, but I'm not getting anything from them. Okay, and so we're going to do, especially somebody had asked in the spirit circle, if you guys aren't a part of the spirit circle, come on over there. It's amazing. We're working on it. It's going to be really cool as we move forward, but I just did a live coffee with Karen today. So that is a video I'm going to do, and if I have to call in an expert to help people work with that, that's what we're going to do in the spirit circle. I can do a general video on, I have to put some thoughts together on that though, since they kind of worked out of the box for me. But what I would love is if there's any of my Reiki, folks here, energy folks here who have a lot of experience. I think the door just opened out there. Who have a lot of experience, then please put some, if you're willing to put some ideas about these questions regarding how do we connect to our spirit guides, probably mostly using these. How do we know our spirit guides? Well, the names we already talked about, but the dowsing rods. So somebody got some dowsing rods and they weren't working. So if you have any ideas about that, but I am going to do a separate video on that. I just have to think about That doesn't come naturally to me. I have to think about like what I might teach. That's like more of a teaching thing. Okay. Okay, so somebody said, I totally believe okay, I probably should have read through some of these questions because now they're not like yes or no questions. So I'm going to skip any questions that are more big picture and more specific, and I'll do separate videos on those. So this question was, I totally believe we have spirit guides. Why is it I can't feel or hear them? Okay. You actually, yeah, I don't hear them either. I don't hear, I don't see, where there are people who do. And you know what? I believe that I can develop that. I can develop that ability to do that. I just have chosen not to because so that's kind of that thing you get what you ask for. Like, be careful what you ask for. And I'm not sure I want to hear. I don't know if you know Anthony William. He's a medical medium, very, very popular. Check him out on YouTube. And the thing is, if you hear his story, like, they never stop talking to him, ever, ever. Like, his guide never stops talking. Like, can you imagine? So you do want to be a little careful. But everybody can develop that. It's going to be through meditation. You've got to be able to you got to be able to raise your vibration by lowering your stress level and getting deep, like calm, very calm, in order for them to be able to access your energy. So I think some people can correct me if I'm wrong about this, just from what I've heard people talk about and what I've learned is your energy, our energy as human beings is very dense, okay? And their energy is very light, okay? Like it's not as dense as ours. And there's like a force field that they've got to get through in order to communicate with us, all right? So some people who can hear them very clearly have worked on, or just naturally came down and was part of their soul contract to come down here and be able to hear them, you know? And so that, so you've got to work on that, getting that density, that whatever that, you've got to get the veil thinner, basically. People call it the veil. So that's right here is like, here's me and here's my spirit guide, like right there. Like there's a veil there though. I just can't see it, And so you just need to work on getting that energy. But the question is, do you really want that? So you want to be careful about that. I'm not sure I do. And that's why this is very satisfying to me and feels enough for me right now. Okay. So being able to see or hear them is not something that I'm sure, as in my current human experience, is what I'm that interested in. So it's just something to think about. Okay. All right. Well, I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but there you go. I talked about it. Only because I was like, I don't know if I have the answer to that. Okay. Let's see. If we have a parallel life somewhere, do we have the same spirit guides? Oh, that's a yes or no question. Okay, so let's ask the first question. And we did actually ask this in the first question, in the first video. So I asked in the first video, we have a higher self basically, and our higher self can break into multiple human lives. Is that correct? Like multiple spirits? Okay, so the answer is yes. So do we have parallel life somewhere else? Do we have lives on the same timeline, basically? Okay, so the answer is yes. And that's where you might feel a strong connection with somebody because you're like, hey, that person's really familiar. Is that true? The answer is yes. Okay, so if you're feeling like somebody's real familiar, and maybe not all the time, but that could be one reason, Okay, so they're saying yes. So if we have a parallel life somewhere else, do we have the same spirit guides? That is a great question. Oh, so the answer is no. Okay, so the spirit guides is specific to that particular lifetime. Okay. So the answer is yes. Thank goodness, right? Yeah, stay with, we want our own. We need all the help we can get, right? Oh my gosh. All right. That's a great question. They're all really good questions. If you are in danger, do our spirit guides let us know? The answer is yes. The thing is how tuned into it are you, right? You ever, this happens to me quite often, but then I'm like, all right, am I just spooking myself out? Like, am I just, like, I'll be walking on the trail or something, and I'm like, you don't quite know if it's ego or if it's your guides talking to you. And until you know, you're like, maybe I should just pay attention. Just pay attention. You know what I mean? But it does feel a little funny sometimes. I remember having that experience this summer, actually. I was like, why do I feel afraid right now? Is that my guides, or is that because I've been watching too much freaking news? It's probably the first part. So you really have to stay. I think you have to, in order, and I think we're all learning this right now. I'm learning this in a very strong way because of everything that's going on in the United States, that if I stay clear of anything that's causing me fear or anything that's disrupting my flow, like in love and light and joy and positivity, if I stay in that flow, you're going to follow the flow of your guidance. You're going to hear and trust that when they're giving you a cue that there's some danger, that you're going to probably avoid it. Like, you're going to hear it stronger, you might feel it stronger. You're like, well, nothing else is causing me fear right now. Like, what is that? Okay. And so that might be an indication of really pay attention to it. But if you're living in fear because you're watching all the crap that's going on, how do you know if that fear is associated with that or it's associated with your SGs trying to give you some guidance, right? I don't know if that resonates with anybody. That really resonates with me. Would that be on point, you guys? Okay, wide, yes. Okay, so it just occurred to me, that is a reason to stay in the light as much as possible, which is, it's not a hard ask. The only problem is as humans, we love the mystery. I do anyways. I love the mystery. I love the, the gotcha, I mean, it's like my ego loves that. My ego loves that, if we're being honest, But you can't watch the gotcha you can't separate it from all the other stuff, So yeah, so you kind of have to make a choice. And I think we're getting that choice very clear right now. And people who are staying in that energy are just creating a bunch of fear for themselves that's not even necessary. Because I'll tell you, since I stopped watching it, I have no fear. While I was watching it, I had a lot of fear. And it's like, okay, well, there's your answer. Nothing changed in my life. Everything was the same here. Nothing changed except for what I was watching. So I was creating my own experience of that. So how did I get off on that? Okay, so it was basically, so the answer is yes, you can let us know if we're in danger. The answer is yes. So it's no different than them yelling no in my ear when I wasn't breathing. It would be the same thing. Okay, the answer is yes. That's cool. See, we can just, that's the thing, is we don't have to be in fear. We can just have this trust that we've got these two amazing guides with us and that we're working on this together, and we can just enjoy our lives, Yeah, wide swing, yes on that. Okay, is a guardian angel your higher self? No. Okay, so the higher self is a separate spirit? Yes. Okay. So our higher self is not broken. Our higher self did not split off with two guides for this lifetime, for our lifetimes. Wait, so let me ask that again. Do our higher selves split off into two other Since we can split off and live separate, parallel lives or on other timelines even. Okay, the answer is no. So they know what I was trying to say. So basically, our higher self does not split off to become our spirit guides. No. Okay, sorry, that was very rambly. I was trying to find the right way to ask it. Okay, let's see. This is getting a little long, so I don't want it to be too long. Let's see. My question is, I feel like I can hear someone trying to whisper in my ear, but it's muffled. What can I do to hear that clearly? What can I do to hear that clearly? Okay, well, I'll have to think about that. I might have to come back to that conversation. So let's just ask for you, though. So can you guys please tap into the energy or spirit guides of the person who asked this question about hearing someone trying to whisper in their ear and it's muffled? Can you please tap in? Okay, so the answer is yes, they're tapping in. So is this person actually hearing a muffled voice? The answer is yes. Or is this person have like some kind of ringing in the ear or something like that, like a medical issue with the physical body? No. Okay. So can you please provide guidance for this person to hear more clearly? Because it sounds like you want to hear more clearly. So what I would do, and this is the whole point of my channel, I'm going to always say it, we're always looking for our own answers. You don't need someone else to tell you the answer, right? So what I would do, let's try this. Try asking your guides to be more clear with you and then give it a little time. Or ask your guides to help you, because ask your guides the question you asked me, is what can I do to help you? What can I do to hear you more clearly? What can I do to hear you more clearly? Write it down and sit and see what comes, just see what comes. That's automatic writing. Ask the question and wait for a little time to pass and see what ideas you get. Okay, you guys can find the answers for yourself. You can find the answers for yourself. This is a perfect example of that. All right, so when that answer comes to you and it does work, please let us know because I want to know. I think the answer will come to you. All right, let's see. What are guides doing with their humans who are doing unkind things? Oh. Okay, so let's just ask, I got to weed this out into yes or no questions. So if we're doing unkind things as human beings, that means they're hearing me, yes. Is there anything you do to interfere with that? The answer is no. So it goes back to the free will again. The answer is yes. Okay. What can we do to hear our guides more clearly? Same response. Same response I gave to the last one. Okay. Same response. You just, you just keep working. And I'm going to do a separate video on this because I think that would be a really fun conversation to have. But same response I just gave prior. Okay, what has been your spiritual journey? Okay, I'll do a separate video on that. When communicating with our spirit guides, are we hearing what we want to hear only? Okay, it's a great question. So you guys, when I ask you questions, are you telling me only what I want to hear? The answer is no. Okay, because that is really tricky sometimes to know, right, you guys? Especially with the election questions. Okay, so when, I actually heard, I don't know if it was Jennifer Lisa Vest who said this recently in a video she just did. I think it was, where she said, things are moving. Oh no, it was Lee Harris. Lee Harris had a post on his channel. And he said, because things are moving so fast right now, the energy is moving so fast. It's like every human being who's slightly aware of anything there's so much energy coming off of all of us. that, and think that's causing everything to move very fast, that the energy is moving because it's moving so fast that the answers can shift from like even I did a reading last night on Joe Biden and posted that. So that's posted on the channel. Like, what is Joe Biden up to? Like, I was just curious. I did a 3-card draw. And I even said, because that was like my intuition, like literally I did a 3-card draw. It was recent past, current, and near future. And literally the recent past could have been like right before I asked that question. And the near future could be like right after. That's how fast things are going right now. So, yeah, so it can be a little tricky, right? So, but the point is they're really not, so you don't tell us just what we want to hear. Is that correct? The answer is yes. So you will tell us things that are actually useful for us? Sometimes I feel like they just tell me what I want to hear. Okay, they say yes. So you got to use your own intuition too, you know. You got to use you are a spirit. So here's the thing. You're a spirit having a human experience. I'm sure you've heard that before. Most people in this circle is probably not new to that, or just who are visiting these kind of channels. So you're a spirit having a human experience, and you have 2 spirits that are working with you, okay, for guidance and just helping you along. So that's 3 spirits. You are one of those spirits, okay? So you can trust that you are a spirit here, you know, and that you can trust your answers. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes any sense. So when you're talking to your intuition, when you have intuition and you feel like you're getting a download, also trust that your own spirit could be downloading for you. Okay? And so it's not just us and them type of thing. That's why I've been calling it spirit teams. Like you are a team, the 3 of you. It's not human Karen with 2 spirits. It's 3 spirits with a human Karen, I think. It's kind of the first time I've actually ever thought about that, but that kind of makes sense to me. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but all right. Okay, so yeah, that's why when communicating with our spirit guides, are we only hearing what we want to hear? You know, and again, we're also our spirits. Like we're also we have to trust like what feels good. And that really always boils down to that. What feels good? If it, in Esther Hicks and Abraham, if you've ever listened to the Law of Attraction with them, that's really all they're teaching over and over and over again. They have a gazillion stories and that's what they're teaching over and over and over again. If it feels good, go with it. If it doesn't feel good, don't go with it. That is your guidance. That is your inner guidance. Okay. And you're lucky you have the body to be able to feel it, you know? So unfortunately, we like to stick with things that don't feel good. You know, like I like to eat sugar. I do. And you know, it doesn't always make me feel good. You know what I mean? So it's just an example. Okay, we only got a couple more. When we ask for help from ancestors or deceased family members, well, that's a great question. Are we disturbing their spirit and causing them not to rest in peace? The answer is no. Okay. That's a great question. Do we need to be careful, especially if somebody's like recently passed over, let's just say? Do we need to be careful about when we start talking with them? Okay. Is it because they have their own free will too, to choose when they're going to be ready to receive kind of what we're asking? Okay. So the answer is yes. So we can trust that they have their own free will, and when they're ready to help, they'll be able to help. Is that true? Okay, great question. The answer is yes. All right, two more questions. Does everyone have at least 2 spirit guides and others come in as we need them for a time? Okay, we talked about this. The answer is yes. Do we need to specifically ask for those others? No. So when we ask for help on a specific issue, then will you, as our spirit guides on the other side, since we're spirit too, but will you seek out the additional help for us? Oh, cool. Oh, cool. Yes. So do we really even need to know who those additional ascended masters are, or archangels? Nope. Nope. We don't even really need to know. Is it more helpful if we do? Oh, the answer is no. No on both. Interesting. So you could just do it for fun then, if you're interested. All right, that's helpful, because I do tend to like things simple and easy. So minimalist, I'm a minimalist, can't help it. Actually, that's a whole nother topic, but being a minimalist, like the more you can kind of clean house up here, wherever, and keep things kind of like on a routine, I think the easier it is for you. One, it causes less stress. If it does cause you stress, doesn't cause everybody stress to have clutter. But if it does, then stress was going to decrease your ability to listen to your intuition and to hear your spirit guides, so that, because stress is not, it's a dense emotion basically. So that, like I've always had the sense that I need to be a minimalist, and I kind of rotate in and out of it. It's like, okay, I get rid of a bunch of stuff, and then I have a new interest, and so I just kind of go with the flow of that. But okay, so does closing the incoming portals prevent you from coming back through? The answer is no. That's a great question, because I think when I was closing, yeah, I had that. Okay, you guys, remember when I was doing I have a couple portal closing videos, you guys, that I did when I was in Wyoming. So you can see those on the channel. I have a playlist called Energy Clearings. So if you've missed those, so you can see the portal clearings that I did, and we talked through it a little bit. But I think I was like, because I've heard from other mediums that you don't want to close the outgoing portals. You just want to close the incoming portals, so that other spirits don't necessarily come into your space and all that. Okay, so they're swinging wide, yes. So if I do that, let's just say, well, does our spirit, I've heard this before, do our spirits leave at nighttime when we're sleeping and go across the veil? The answer is yes. Do we do that all the time? Like every time we're sleeping? Oh, the answer is yes. So our spirits, I've heard that our spirits leave to regenerate. Is the dreaming stuff a part of that? No. Are our dreams a part of us coming back into our body? Oh, we'll have to explore this. This is a whole other topic. The answer is yes. Interesting. So if we leave, if our bodies leave, are we leaving through a portal? Ah, that's why. The answer is no. So we're not leaving through a portal. So we're just crossing the veil, basically. So I don't really understand the point of portals then. But apparently there are some. I mean, they're there and we close them. So, all right, well, portals, exploring portals is a whole nother topic. So not just closing them, but exploring the point of them. All right, this was awesome, you guys. I know it's a little long. I hope it wasn't too long for you. I'm getting a little scratchy. Yeah, but leave more questions. And I'm going to leave the questions that that are more discussion. I'm going to leave those on my list here. And at some point get to making, if I feel like I have stuff I can talk about, it could be a coffee with Karen conversation. Some of the questions that were not yes or no. So, all right, have a good one. Bye-bye.